Hello and welcome to another Belfast programme podcast. Today we have Mr. Suleiman with me. So first of all, could you tell us who you are and what do you do?
My name is Suleiman Abdulahi. I run a small charity based in Belfast called Horn of Africa People's Aid Northern Ireland.
And so what is the Horn of Africa People's Aid Northern Ireland and what does it do?
We basically work with the refugees who are arriving from the Horn of African regions, Somalia, Ethiopia, Eritrea, and other surrounding areas such as Sudan. And mainly we support them initial issues dealing with the English language. We run homework club, sport, women's activity, and also we do a bit of advocacy and highlight the issues affecting them.
Okay, and so could you tell us in a bit more detail some of the HAPANI projects that are going on at the minute?
We are very grateful. We have got the last year funding for youth project, which is 3 years program funded by BBC Children in Need, and that project entails for basketball, football, and homework club, which we run 2 days a week, and also we have a member of staff who's working 20 hours a week, and that was the first paid staff, but we depending on volunteers. We are partnered with the Queen's Union, Student Union, and the corporate sponsors who and the general public, where we got the volunteers, and also we were very grateful the Unemployment Resource Center who have been in touch with the volunteer teachers, which were allow us to run more than a year for absolute beginner English language.
So could you tell us more about the communities you're involved with then that are in Belfast at the minute?
Mainly myself, I really involve wider community, and also my profession is just to make a link and allow the to cultural. I call myself cultural mediator, and what I do normally is to inform for the general public what the refugees' issues are, and also how they can integrate in society and they can have access resources. But mainly our focus is the refugees who are more isolated, and try to ease those isolation and provide some sort of professional advice and also practical, and accompany with them whenever they navigate in system. And because someone is new, for example, if you end up in China today and you don't speak Chinese, it will be very difficult for you to navigate the system and understand what you can do, where you can go, and also who will be responsible for your immediate requirement. And that is what we really provide.
So we're as we're a part of the Belfast programme, we're in Belfast, but where would HAPANI be based then?
Our office in Botanic, we in Botanic House, which is just the bottom of this city side, above where the post office used to, and our office is really very central where our target client or members of the community live in majority in South Belfast, but the people who come actually who use the service come from different parties. We have also, I forgot to mention that the City Council this year, Belfast City Council has funded a project which is a summer scheme where we're running every Wednesday for the children to have like a kind of different activity, drama, music, and getting local culture, and that is working very well. Very small number. I think those activity was highlight how similarities in the community, and at the same time improve the relationships among the locals because of some facilitators are from local community, and also the refugees themselves find very interesting.
Do we have then sort of numbers of refugee communities or numbers of refugees living in Belfast at the minute? Would we have a ballpark figure as to what they might be?
It's very difficult to have access to data. We have is just a proxy. For example, every year you can see the number decrease or increase, and some people actually move out from Northern Ireland to other parts of UK. But the approximate number, the community we work, we say the Somalis, for example, around approximately 500 refugees from the Horn of Somalia. But the other Horn of African also have a big number, and One of the big number also based here are Sudanese refugees, but a lot of people doesn't know that the biggest asylum seeker in this country as last year were Chinese, but they are not interacted with the refugee community as far as I know. And I think it is very difficult to measure exact figure because of that's the Home Office who can have access to the data. But what we know is that whoever knock our doors, and the refugees come in different ways. Some of them come in through family unification, and others come into the family like as an asylum seekers. Some asylum seekers are refusal asylum seekers who are actually destitute on some issues, which is supported by the Red Cross, who provide when the person is destitute, and other charity and church groups are providing some support, and people are very, very difficult in that situation when they become a destitute. A lot of asylum seekers who have refused or exhausted their cases are living in a very, very in limbo situation. And a few organizations and a few good initiatives in Belfast who are supporting now and trying to raise those issues. And I myself involved in kind of advocacy level and speak about when I meet the local politicians and see if there is any room of improvement for Northern Ireland as a region to accommodate for those issues and support.
Well, as a city then, and as a country, how do the refugees generally find living here and living in Belfast? Would they find it easier than other places? What's the appeal to them coming here? Have they found it easier, manageable, thanks to the likes of HAPANI?
I believe this is very hard to measure. I'm not myself a refugee. I'm like a secondary migrant to Northern Ireland. I've been in another European country, but the people who actually came as asylum seeker and refugees are very tough and meet very challenging situation. But in general, the general public or the people of Northern Ireland have provided huge hospitality, and I believe that they were very, very receptive, and specifically when it comes for like faith groups and the other, the goodwill is so high. But the state level, I think there's no infrastructure, and nobody meet the need of migrants in general, and also refugees, because when you are through the forced migration, like people who flee for their lives and whenever they arrive, regions like Northern Ireland, who originally this country region was in Northern Ireland, the society is the post-conflict society, and still have their own issues and struggling to settle. And then when you receive a new migrant, that has created some tension, and actually few minority individuals, and such as a hate crime of happening now and then. And even last night I saw a family who their house was smashed from the window, and someone has to flee where they were living. So there are very small issues which you cannot ignore, but at the same time, in general, the Northern Ireland was the general public were very helpful, and there's a lot of goodwill and support for refugees.
Okay, well, unfortunately we've run out of time, but I'm sure we'll have Suleiman back online soon. So thank you very much, Suleiman, for the Belfast Programme podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Alan.